Hey there. What I want to try to do in this short video is highlight one, two, or three questions from week one, and I'm going to try to do this every week. But one, two, or three questions that struck me that were particularly helpful. I don't think it's productive or realistic to try to cover every one of these questions in here. They're all deep. They could all lead to long conversations. If you're able to do it, that's wonderful. But this is for me. I came across two questions on page 22 that were rich and led to some really good insight. And the first one I saw that was helpful was, where does your heart, number 3, where does your heart go when you consider the suffering, pain, and hardship of our fallen world? I've asked this question. I've mentored maybe 4 times now, and I think the first few times I've done it, I didn't appreciate what was in this question until this time around. The first person I got to ask this question to gave a very removed political answer to it, meaning, where does your heart go when you consider the suffering, pain, hardship of our fallen world? And he gave an example of being really annoyed by some political things that happen in our government, involving immigration, and what it told me, one, was of all the things, all the areas in the fall that affect, that have gotten to you, this one is what you mentioned, and it wasn't something that was part of his everyday life. It wasn't something that he had to live with on a regular basis. He knew someone who's in a very kind of distant way. And at first, there's two sides to this question. What gets on our radars for about the fallenness of this world? What penetrates us and disturbs us or unsettles us or makes us angry or hopeless? That's going to be different for everybody. Some people feel like when they think of the fallenness of this world, they think of the brokenness of marriage. I've got a difficult marriage, or maybe it's the sin struggles in my heart, or maybe it's what's wrong with society, or they hear about an abduction or some, a kid who's been, kidnapped. Something is going to keep us up at night. Something's going to disturb us, and what that thing is the window into our heart. When this person gave me the political answer, I was kind of able, from more questions, just asking more, I was able to see that for the most part, this guy tries to keep the fallenness of the world at arm's distance. He wants, his world is optimistic. The future looks bright. So when you counter the fallenness of the world, it's stuff out there. And that was a pattern of his. But then there's another part to this question, that is, where does your heart go when you do encounter the fallenness of this world? And for him, it was, they're the problem that needs to be fixed. This guy was dating somebody for a while, and he said that was what happened in their relationship, is there was one or two particular problems with that relationship, and it was really her, and if that could be fixed, the relationship would be perfect. I mean, you could fast forward for this guy. If his heart, if he's prone to say, I want my world to be comfortable and good, so I'm going to keep the fallenness of the world out there at arm's distance, but when it does come in, I got to fix it and have things go back, so things can go back to being good. That reveals a lot about the way this person's heart functions. You might talk to somebody else and find that they're discouraged by their marriage, and they've given up. They're hopeless. They're cynical because things will never change. Then this person's heart goes toward hopelessness and cynicism. While the first guy I'm talking about, it goes toward fixing and managing. Somebody else might go to escapism. And I don't want to think about those things, so let me play a game, let me look at pornography, or whatever it might be. Okay, so number 3 reveals the heart when it bumps into sin and suffering and the fallenness of this world. One other question that hit me that was very helpful was number 5. This has always been a helpful question to me. According to the creation account, A functional human being is to live in a loving, dependent relationship with his Creator. In what areas of your life do you rely on creation rather than the Creator for direction, protection, provision, power, satisfaction, comfort, security, stability, hope, and happiness? In other words, instead of turning to God for life and for hope, what do you turn to? And we're not looking for just right answers. We're not just looking for one answer. We're looking for a person to spend time thinking about, how do you avoid God? Do you avoid God through explicit sin? Do you turn to drugs or alcohol? Okay, that's probably obvious enough. Pornography, um, flings, whatever. Those are obvious probably. But what about I need to manage things at home so that everything's in control, so that the kids are safe. If I can fix our marriage, and if I could be a good enough husband, then things will be okay. Well, okay, yeah, you're looking to fixing your marriage rather than drawing near to your Creator and drawing from your relationship with Him. I know I tend to turn to mindless escapes, like I almost automatically will pull up Facebook or a game on my phone and just play like Sudoku, something lame, but it's just rather than encountering and engaging God, I will turn off my mind and just go to mindless activity. Those are just two of the many questions that you can explore, but I would say numbers 3 and 5 were fruitful. I hope you find others as well, but I hope this was helpful.